Hey folks, Jay here with First Direct Corp with another video presentation for you. Today I'm going to talk about cleaning up your GoldMine installation folder on your server to free up some disk space on your server where your GoldMine is hosted. I have a lot of customers that complain that over time their GoldMine gets slow, that it's dragging down, that it's just not performing well. And sometimes one of the things that we see is that the disk space on the server gets low or on a user's machine if they're a single user. And I'm going to explain why that is, what's happening, and what you can do to clean it up. So in GoldMine, when you get and send and receive emails in GoldMine, GoldMine saves all of your email attachments for each user to a single folder on your server or your GoldMine directory where your GoldMine is installed. And I want to show you that. So I'm going to just right click on my email account here. Jay, I have an account set up for my Jay at firstdirect.com email account. If I right click on that and go to the account properties of that email, go ahead and stop that retrieval. Um, Sorry, no, I don't want to go there. Sorry, let's close the email center. And I'm going to go to tools options and then email and then under more options. And in here, under the retrieval tab, you'll notice that all of my email attachments are going to the D drive, D GoldMine mailbox attach. So for most users that are multiple users on their server, this drive, this path for each user, so if you go to tools, options, email, and then more options and retrieval tab, under this attachments directory, this is where GoldMine will save all of your email attachments for all users. And ideally, all users have this setting set to D GoldMine mailbox attach. Now, we do suggest that you check the following two boxes, or even one of the two. So we're going to organize the attachments in this attached folder by the receiving user. So in this folder, on this attached directory on this drive, on this computer, there will be a folder called J, because that is my GoldMine username, J, J-A-Y. So all my email attachments will go to a J folder. And if one of the other users receives email attachments, all their attachments will go in their folder name. There'll be a Bob or a Mary, etc., because Bob and Mary are users in our GoldMine. And then I can further organize the attachments in that folder by receiving date year, and then further organize the attachments in a folder by receiving date month. I recommend just the top two here. And then when you receive email attachments, do I want to save those as linked documents? I choose not to because a lot of the attachments that I receive are not valuable. They're just logos and PDFs and PNGs and Facebook, Twitter icons and things like that. So I don't choose to attach those to the record in GoldMine. If I receive an attachment, I know that I have to link it manually to the record if it's important. I don't do a lot with the documents. Like I don't do quotes and proposals. I'm not a sales guy for the most part, so I don't really need to link any attachments that I get to records. And if I do and I need to, again, I need to manually do that. So again, that's something you might want to consider for each individual user. So those are the settings we want to focus on today. Those are what I recommend. So let's go look at this D GoldMine mailbox attached folder inside my computer. But here we are, we're in that directory. And again, as I said, there's a folder called J, and then there's in here 2019, 20, 21, 22. So obviously I've got email attachments that go back about 4 or 5 years now. Um, and within each folder, there is the month that I received those attempts. So then I've got March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. So the month number for within that year that I received those attachments. So if I go look at the '03 folder, you'll see these are all the email attachments that I received. And as I mentioned just a few minutes ago, a lot of them are going to be Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, company logos, and things like that. And this is what can really clog up your server and harm your GoldMine performance. So let's talk about why we initially suggest that you do it this way. Why do we suggest that you create a separate user with a separate folder with all these attachments? Well, first of all, you're spreading out the documents into this folder. See how quickly this folder loads when I browse to it? It's loading quickly because there's not a lot of stuff in these folders. Now, if I had millions of records, I have some customers that have thousands and thousands and thousands of documents because they're not doing it this way. They're putting everything in the root of the attached folder. So they're not configuring their users to attach these, save these attachments by linking or receiving user and then year, etc. So now everything is in one folder. Imagine there's millions of documents in there, and it takes forever to access that folder and to read and write to that folder. So every time somebody receives an email, it can be really slow and cumbersome because there's just so much stuff in this attached folder. So what are you to do? Well, we do recommend that you or somebody in your company, your IT, somebody needs to be aware of this folder, this mailbox attached folder that's inside your GoldMine directory on your server where your GoldMine is hosted and installed. And they need to go in and clean this stuff up. What do I mean by that? Well, it's really up to you. How do you handle this? For me, what I typically do is, again, a lot of my stuff is not valuable. And I'm just looking at this. Maybe 10 or 15 of those things are important. There's hundreds, there's a couple hundred in there. So what I do is I usually do this. Is I want to organize this folder by document type. So if you right click somewhere in the white space, um, you can go group by file type. So right click somewhere in this and go group by file type. And that immediately organizes these documents, these email attachments that you received by the type that they are. And well, as I said earlier, I don't do anything with graphics. I really don't need any of these graphics. So I'm just going to go ahead and select those and delete those. And here are those little Twitter icons. I'm going to highlight all those and I'm going to delete all of those. Dance floor estimate request. Dance floor, I don't know what those are, so I'm just going to leave them. And then there's some sort of log files. I'm going to just leave those. So I went into that folder. And again, same idea. Right click, group by file type. And here you can see all these logos. I don't need any of those. Just delete those. Highlight these. These are all pictures, and you'll notice they're all duplicated. So every time I receive an email from somebody that has pictures in it. Now some of these might be important. I don't know what some of these look like screenshots or error messages people emailed me. So I might just go in now and just kind of pick and choose what I need and what I don't need. So I'm just doing some random picking of things in here that I that look like there's something that might be important. Everything else there I don't need. So again, just delete. Boom. And so I kept those. I've deleted those. Let's go up here. Let's delete these. Again, I'm selecting all those. I'm saying, you know what? That looks somewhat important. That looks somewhat important. That looks somewhat important. That looks somewhat important. And we'll delete the others. Here's a bunch of Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn icons. Delete those. So that's basically what I recommend you do. Somebody needs to go in and clean this stuff up. Um, and that's the easiest way to do it. I know it's a little time consuming. Group by file type, come in, select. Now, if you're a graphics company or you deal graphics or you get a lot of graphics and attachments or something of that nature, and that's part of your business and it's important to hold on to that stuff, I'm going to show you in a second how to deal with that when you receive those things. There's something you should be doing when you receive an attachment. So that's cleaning things up, right? Group it by file type, select what you don't need, and delete them. So let's talk about what happens when you receive an email and how do you handle that differently. So this is something I've discussed before with some clients and training with them on how to send and receive emails. So I'm going to my GoldMine. So I'm going to go ahead and send myself an email. I'm going to send myself an email. I'm in my Outlook. I'm going to send myself an email. J at 1ST Direct. I'm going to say test attachment, and I'm going to attach some files. So I'm going to attach a file to this email, and I'm just going to attach that. It's a zip file, and test, see attachment. You know what? I'm going to attach something else. I'm going to attach, let's attach that picture there. So I'm going to send this to myself with some attachments, but I'm going to go get those in my GoldMine because we're talking about GoldMine. So I'm going to go check my email in my GoldMine now. That email has not yet arrived, so I'm just going to keep checking. It takes a second or two. All right, let's make sure it didn't go to junk. Nope, it has not yet arrived. Let's look at sent items here. It did go to my account. You know what it is? It's that zip file. It's the zip file that I got there. So that's what's going to take a while. It's going through the office mail server. Yeah, so it hasn't arrived. I wonder if we have another attachment. Anything else here with attachments? Let's look at this email here. See if this has no attachments, and that's garbage. That's a Ring Central. That's Oh, here's one. Here's one that has nope, that attachment has been removed. Sorry, folks. I didn't think it would take that long for that email to come. And I don't have one. I don't have any in my inbox. This one, I moved that attachment, so that's fine. Outbox. Oh, we don't need that. Wow. I didn't think that would take that long. Okay, let's do this through GoldMine. Let's do a new email to myself. Direct. No. Best. Attach a file. I'm going to attach a very small file this time instead of a bigger one. Again, just attach a file there and hit send. There it is. I'm going to receive this email. So I've received an email with an attachment here. And you'll see D GoldMine mailbox attached J 2022. And I've actually changed my settings. I don't know if you saw that earlier, but I'm no longer saving it by month. I'm just say stick all my attachments in the 2022 folder. So let's go look at that. I just want to verify that. D GoldMine mailbox attach J 2022. So this is going to have every email attachment. And the reason why I did this is because I got tired of going into every folder, like going into O1, sorting by this group and sorting by that group. So you'll notice here what you're seeing a lot of are my logos, my attachments. There's a lot of stuff in here now. But if I right click and group by type, it's now easier to just say, hey, I don't need those things there. Delete those. Come down. Those are log files. And now I can say, hey, these JPEG files, I don't need these. I might need those and just delete those. Don't need that. So I'm just doing a shift select here. And for some reason it's doubling it up. That's all right. Select and delete those. So that's one way of doing it, right? Sort everything else and then delete. And obviously you're starting to see all the logos. But let's say this attachment that I got here, this document, let's say this is a quote or a proposal or something that I really need to keep, right? It's an important document. I'm expecting it. Somebody's emailed me something and it's not just a garbage logo or PNG or Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn icon. It's a document and I'm expecting this back. Goldmine's document management capabilities really leaves everything up to you as the user and how you use the system. It's very reliant on you as the user to do what you need to do or what you want to do. It's not, and there's not much automation into it, if you will. But if I know that this attachment is an important document, a quote, a proposal, a PDF, or something that I've received that I need to keep and hold on to, my suggestion is to take this document and move it out of this default mailbox attached location. So I'm going to right click on this And you can see I can open it, move it, copy name to a clipboard. I can show the full path name, which is what I'm doing. I can delete it, or I can look at the properties of it. Well, I want to move it. I want to right click on this and move it. And now I can browse my computer. And again, I'm going to go right back to my D drive, which is my drive on my computer where my gold mine is. I'm going to go back to my gold mine. And I can go to my mailbox if I want. But what I'm going to do is in here, I can create a new folder. So I'm going to go do that. I'm going to go out to my D drive, my gold mine, my mailbox, and create a new folder called, let's call it quotes and proposals, right? Something like that. Or I could create a new folder called sent attachments. So if I'm sending attachments, I want to, any attachments that I send, I want to put them in the sent attachments folder. So I'm now creating the document structure, if you will. I'm creating the folder structure for organizing my attachments, how I want to do that. So now that I've created that structure on my server, when I go to move this document, move. Great. Let's go back to that folder. D drive, GoldMine, mailbox. You'll see quotes and proposals. And I can now move this document out of your default location to this new quotes and proposals. And because I did that within GoldMine, everything about this email is updated the path. I haven't lost the link to that attachment. The attachment is now moved to this quotes and proposals. And now my default mailbox attached folder will have just all the stuff I don't need. So when it comes to cleaning this up, because I'm making a conscientious effort, and all the users need to make this conscientious effort. When I receive a proposal or when I receive a quote or a document that's important that needs to be moved, I always need to manage and move it someplace else out of the default. It's time consuming in a sense. It is a bit of a right click and move. It's something you have to make a conscious effort to do. There's no way to automate it. There's nothing built into Goldmine that says, hey, if it's this type of quote or if it's a PDF, there is nothing in Goldmine that allows you to do that. So it relies on you to do that as a user and manage that. That will make your life in the long run a lot easier because now, again, because you're organizing your documents, when you start moving things out of this mailbox attached, the only thing that should be in this mailbox attached is the stuff you don't need. So now it's just easier to go ahead and say, hey, delete the 2019 folder, delete the 2020 folder, or delete the 2022 folder. And now you would know that all this stuff that's in here is just nothing that needs to be in here. And these are delivery reports. I'm going to go ahead and delete all those. I don't need any of those. And now you're cleaning up your server. You're cleaning up everything that is on your server, freeing up disk space, freeing up the slowness, and now your goldmine is going to perform slightly better in a sense because you're not dealing with all that clutter. So that is a simple document management, email attachment management best practices, if you will, for Goldmine. Um, and if you have any questions or any comments, please do feel free to give me a call, 845 221 3800. Again, Jay with First Direct. Thanks, folks.